G'day, guys, and welcome to the Thunder from Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Graham Solomon, and today we've got a special guest coming in. But before I introduce him, remember, if you're watching it on Facebook, go and smash that like button, smash the heart button, go to the Graham Solomon from Thunder from Down Under YouTube channel and belt that subscribe button, hit the bell icon and become part of the family so that you can be notified when we go live with special guests like we've got in today. So today's special guest is an entrepreneur and a business owner at Powerhouse Media and Marketing. We'll get into, he does a fair bit of stuff. His name is Justin Lee, and welcome, Justin, to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Solomon. Thanks, Graham. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for cutting out some time. And I know, like a lot of our guests, you're very busy, and you've taken some time out, so I appreciate that. But you do a fair bit of things. Like, that's just your business, but within your business, you do a lot of things, which we'll get into. But I just want to start off, Justin, with going back before real estate, before your marketing, before your real estate, where it all started, what you were doing before that, and how you actually initially got into real estate, and then how that's led you to where you are today. So if you can just tell us in your own words your backstory, and just tell us, who Justin Lee is and where he came from.
Yeah, no worries. So started off really young. 3 days after I graduated high school, I enlisted in the Marine Corps, left for boot camp. I got out back in 2003. I designed a lot of stuff, not only for my high school, but also for the military. So I've got an engineering background there. And I started my own construction company shortly after I got out of the Marine Corps, and did that for almost 10 years. During that process, I also got involved into real estate, doing lease options and other things. First started doing that back in 2008. And then we went full force real estate about three years ago. And about a year ago, dealing with all our meetings and all of our partners across the country, we decided to basically build a marketing company to help real estate investors and wholesalers basically establish and run their business a little easier than what I had to when I first got started.
Yeah, so you're committed to helping people not have to go through the same stuff you went through, and to fast track them. That's pretty much where it's at. I've got messages coming in all over the place. It always happens. You go live, and then all of a sudden you've got people sending you messages, and so yeah, you made the mistakes yourself. You went through the school of hard knocks. You then put in some systems for your own business, and then you could see some common things in the industry that other people were doing the same stuff, or even making more mistakes. So that's how you sort of developed what you're doing now. So now you're actually fast tracking people and helping them, not go through the same mistakes. Just before we get into that, I just want to go back to, like you said, 2008, you're in real estate, you're doing lease options. How long did you do lease options for?
About 2.5 years. So right through the 08, 09 depression, we made it all the way through there. And then I was partnered up with a guy. I didn't really believe in his beliefs, so I kind of got out of that and started doing some of my own things. We invested in Texas and Colorado, and then now we're up in the North Carolina area. So
yeah, and lease options work quite well, don't they, in a depressed market? And did you find, with the whole concept of lease options, do you like the concept that there's a few people sort of, if it's done properly, there's a few win-wins out of the whole situation?
I do. The only part that I don't like about the lease option is the fact that they're basically still renters until they decide to purchase. And so by doing that, you're taking on a lot of risk during that time. And so there's creative ways to get around those nowadays. But, for all in all, the lease option, setting it up correctly, I think it's a win-win.
Yeah. So if the person like yourself, the investor, has got good ethics, sets it up, puts things in place to protect people, it's a good concept. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's other people that don't probably do it as ethical, and it can give the whole industry a bad name. So you're into that. You also had a construction company for a while. So can you tell us a little bit about your construction days? Being in the construction business and what you learnt out of that, and how that probably helped you in the real estate space once you got into the real
Sure.
estate space.
So my very first construction company actually started while I was in high school. I actually built a 5,500 square foot house with the homeowner, and we built it from the ground up. So I did that while I was in high school, and then so that construction background kind of spilled over into the military, combat engineer. I got to design a lot of field operations equipment and redesign some of their reverse osmosis equipment for the Marine Corps and the Army. And then basically just started my own construction company as soon as I got out. First started off doing like decks, porches, and patios. And then I realized that I had an inkling for something a little bit more unique. So I started doing high-end remodels. And so everything from the floor up is what we would do. And I did that for 15 years before I went full on real estate. So,
and having that engineer type background type thinking would have been a benefit for that, wouldn't it? Like as you started going up and doing higher end stuff, the planning, the precision of thought that an engineer generally operates with, that would have been a big factor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm able to see something before it's actually there, which is kind of how I'm able to do some of the software stuff I do now. I have the vision of what it needs to look like and what needs to happen. And I just kind of figure out the path to make it happen and make it perform like it's supposed to. And, you're just left with a beautiful product at the end.
Yeah. No, that's right. And then, so from construction, the next part was you got into some of your own real estate and you did that for a while. That was the next sort of phase before you got into the marketing, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure. I kind of migrated that in with the construction. So the construction kind of helped me fund and build and invest in the real estate world. And then I got to where I started getting older, a little bit more focused on my body and how I'm supposed to be living for the next 20, 30, 40 years of my life. And so I started dipping back into the real estate full on and get rid of some of that physical activity that I had in my life at that time. So,
yeah, that's a good point. It's a young man's game, isn't it? Construction, and that you get to an age and you start feeling the aches and pains, and you say, "Oh, I've got to start using up here." And probably you having that engineer creative, being able, to be a bit of a visionary, and that helped you be able to probably transition, because a lot of people get stuck in that working with their bodies, and they get to 50, 60, and they're just broken down. So you saw the writing on the wall really early and said, "Right, I'm out. I've got to get out. I've done what I need to do in there." So then you headed into, you've done some of your own real estate for a while. What did that look like? What was that like? Your own stuff. What was that, and how did that look?
So I kind of started. So with the lease options, I started off. I had a partner at that particular time, and we did not clash very well. So I started going into my own phase, and it was very hard at first. I went through a lot of pitfalls. A lot of downhill slides. I didn't really lose a whole lot in the real estate industry, thank goodness, because it probably would have set me down a downhill slope from there. But I maintained for a very long time. And then after spending thousands of dollars in real estate education and courses and networking with other people along the way, little by little, I started to realize there was better ways, better techniques and software to help you out. You can't really do everything on your own. You definitely need people to partner with, to either have a mentor or things like that along the way. Doing it 100% by yourself is something that's definitely not recommended. You need somebody that you can look up to lean on, to spill out information with, everything along the way. We got to have that partnership to grow. And it's not just about you, it's about them as well. If you can grow together, typically what happens is you create this partnership, and this partnership goes beyond just the real estate.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you just made there, that the world moves too fast now to be able to do it the old-fashioned way, where you do everything yourself. In the 80s, you could sort of do it yourself, employ a couple of people, and you were covered. But it's just moving way too quick now, isn't it? So automations and delegation, all this stuff is not just a buzzword anymore. It's a reality in your business, isn't it? You need to be able to free up more and more time because things are so complex now. This, especially in this business with marketing and all that sort of stuff. So that's a really good point. And from there, you hit the marketing business, and obviously we just spoke about the fact that you did it from the school of hard knocks. It's because everything you learnt along the way, and it just listening to you now, Justin, you've pretty much, it's been a great sort of every stage has helped you to get to where you are now. And like you said, even the things that were a bit of a challenge and the obstacles have been good because they've actually got you, conditioned you and got you to where you are now, which is in a successful media and marketing business. So you'd look back now and say, oh yeah, I'm glad that happened now. Probably wasn't what you were saying at the time, but you've made that, all those things have sort of got you to where you are today. So what we'll do is we'll look at your actual business today, what you do today, and it's media and marketing. I mean, that's a big heading because you do a lot of stuff within that. Like I was amazed, we spoke the other day, and I was amazed at how many things you actually do within your business. And there's even funding in there. There's a whole heap of stuff in there. So if you could just start off with an overview for us, just give us an overview of the business, and then we'll just break it down into the, all the things that you do, because there is a fair bit to sort of cover. So yeah, in your words, just give us an overview of your business.
Sure. So first off, we only service the real estate industry. So realtors, investors, and wholesalers is who we focus on. We're just now dipping into the multifamily market. That's just something we're working on right now and dipping into as far as serving that particular side, but it's still the real estate market. So we specialize in the real estate because that's where we are ourselves. We're actually active investors still. And so we like to help people automate the systems that they have. Whether you have an automated system in place already or you're needing one, what we like to do is try to build our system that we have and bring it to you as a done-for-you system, so you don't really have to worry about the setup and are you doing things right, or do you have the right tools in place or anything else like that. Basically, we get to know you personally on your business level, and we build the system around your needs. And then on a company scale, we offer 24/7 support. And then we also add a ton of new tools. It seems like every week here recently. So we've added funding to our platform. We have built-in funding for private money investors that we've met and dealt with along the way. So we're kind of in the pockets with them. We started doing direct mail campaigns that actually attach to our software. So there's no reason to leave the software. New lead comes in, you can send a direct mail campaign to them. We've got a program right now where we autofill legal documents, so you can send out for your PSAs. And so not only it autofills them, but it'll actually send it out for a signature and receive and send final copies all at the same time as well. So we try to do everything as automated as possible, and we leave the social aspect of it and the human aspect of it to the business owner. Okay, so you still need to pick up the phone and talk to your individuals. You still need to either show up to the location and do your contracts that way, if at all possible. I'm a big believer in person, but if not, you always need to have that conversation. Get on Zoom calls with them. Video chats, do whatever you got to do. Make it personal. The more personal you get with your sellers, the better option you have of landing the deal. And so we put all these tools in place, scripts and all the email campaigns, text message campaigns. We can tie in Facebook, Google ads. I mean, there's so much to list. And that's just what we do. It's just to make your back end office a little easier. Just to help you grow that much faster.
Yeah, and in what you've just said, there's a lot of sort of really key points there. And so firstly, so that you can go out and do what you do, what you're good at. If you're tied up in all that stuff and caught up in all that stuff, you're not out actually doing what you do, which makes you money, which is real estate. So the fact that you actually come in and you custom build it around someone is, I don't think there's a lot of people doing that, because you can go, same thing we talked about before about the old way of doing things. Well, the old way is, I'll go out and I'll pick that bit and then I'll get that bit, and you spend all your time doing that, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Whereas you come in and you take care of all that, like you said, back end stuff, make sure that it's all tailored around your business, and it's not just one size fits all. And then it frees up the business owner to be able to actually go out and do the things, which is, like you said, a lot of it's personal type stuff and connections and networking with other people and doing deals, I guess, is the big thing. So, yeah, that's, I mean, I'm seeing a little bit more of a trend. I mean, probably in this space, there's probably been a lot of stuff, like I said, you individually have to put about 8 or 10 moving parts together yourself, whereas you're saying now you bring it all together and you bring it into one place, and service the customer that way. So that's awesome. Now, we'll go, I just wanted to start firstly, if you could just sort of break down into sort of just different things that you do within your business, like with, like with automation. How do you sort of come into someone's business and automate it? What do you look at automating first, I guess? What's the first things that you put in place?
We have a slew of tools that are already built that work very well for the industry already. So we've got campaigns set up for the realtors. We have one set up for wholesalers and another one set up for investors as well. And so the tools that we put in place are going to be specific to that industry, but we also have a ability to customize it to what you're comfortable with. So if you have more of a humor side of doing business, we can change things around to put some of that humor in what you're doing. And then also it depends on how aggressive you want to go as well. So a lot of people, especially in the new business side of things, tend to be a little standoffish at first because they're not comfortable. Well, what our system does, it allows that aggressiveness to come into place, so you're not having to do all that aggression yourself. It basically just takes some of the stress off of the new entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah.
And then as far when a new lead comes in, we have a campaign that we have set up. So basically what happens is we send out 4 different messages about 7 different times. Okay. So we'll send out a text message, an email, a Facebook Messenger, and voice drops, all within about 5 minutes of a new lead coming into the campaign. So whether we're bringing that lead in for them, or whether they're getting that lead from an outside source, whether it's road signs or any other campaign that they're running, that's when that trigger happens. And as soon as that lead comes in, and we can help set up that trigger as well. But so after that, we have campaigns that are set up to where when they answer this campaign, which is what we encourage, is wait till they answer before you reach first contact, because this is set up to where it actually reads as if you're actually sending out the messages. So it doesn't have the appearance of it's coming from a computer. These are all personalized messages that suits whoever's receiving it. So their names and addresses and all that stuff is all auto-populated in there. So they're actually getting personalized messages.
So that handles it. Oh, sorry. I thought you'd finished.
No worries. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that's your So you come in, you get marketing, you help people with marketing, then you have the leads come in, and then from there, you've got an automated system that just goes bang, 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 so nothing gets left behind. And then from there, it heads into like a CRM type setup, is it, where you have follow-ups and all this sort of stuff, and you can track what you're doing within the same system? Is that how that sort of looks from an outside?
Absolutely. So we can track it by the day, the week, the month, the year, however you want to do it. And the way it's set up is it's set up for a 6-month nurture. So from the time it comes in, your lead comes in, to the time the total campaign ends is a total of 6 months, if it has to stretch out that long. Because not every seller wants to sell right away. Sometimes they're just thinking, oh, well, I've got this job I really want to look at. It's in another state, but I might have to sell right away because it's going to be one of those things. Or something happened and they're not working out well with their spouse, it's divorce, whatever. And things happen like right then and there. As long as you can stay top of mind with the automations in place like that, the constant text messages, the emails, everything to keep you top of mind. And now with our mailing campaign on top of that as well, you're always going to be top of mind. So when the seller is ready to sell and they've got that mindset that, hey, now is the time, you're the person that they think about, and you're the one that they're going to come to sell the house.
Yep, yep. So that makes a lot of sense. From start to finish, you've got everything in place, and to free up more time as well. So you're not having to sit there yourself and do all this stuff, because you wouldn't be able to keep up. Like I said, with the modern business now, you lose, it falls in the cracks and you lose everything. So yeah, and the nurture thing is really important. That whole 6 month follow up. So yeah, that's awesome. That's from start to sort of finish. So and so that's sort of an overview of, I guess, the systems and the automations and stuff. So what about the marketing side of it? Like right at the front end, do you guys come in and help people set up marketing campaigns? And
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do that as well. Yep.
Absolutely. So we've got a lot of creative things that we're doing right now to kind of move to where the market is. There's a huge influx of wholesalers and investors out there. So it's trying to compete with everybody else is what's driving the marketing cost up. So we've got a lot of innovative things that we're doing right now with YouTube, not just YouTube ads, but just YouTube videos in general. Because there's certain things that we can do to rank that YouTube video on first page and never even have to pay for it. So it's basically free leads.
Yeah.
And then we have things we do with our realtor side of things, where we can do small campaigns for brand awareness on Facebook, because Facebook works very well for their market, and it helps keep people top of mind. And then we have some other creative things like using mailers and yellow letters and just different things along the way that we can use to help keep that marketing cost down and their lead value up.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you got it covered from everywhere, because like you said, it's such a competitive market now. You've got to stand out a little bit, don't you? You've got to be seen, or else you just get left behind. So your real estate background, you knowing this and evolving out of that, you're saying, right, well, this is what you need to do. You have to be set up like this, or else you may not see another couple of years in the business. So yeah, you've looked at it, like you said, and you've been a visionary. You've looked and gone, right, this is what you need to do moving forward in this current market and the way things have been. So that's awesome. You do other stuff like website creation. So you're basically a one-stop shop. You come in and do it. You look at the person's business, and like you said, you tailor stuff around it. So I like what you said about the YouTube thing, because that's sort of the future, I guess. A lot of people are going to YouTube now and actually using it as a lead magnet, as a tool moving forward. And people have been doing it with Facebook for a while, but I think a lot of people have sort of kept away from YouTube, going, oh, that's a bit out of my league. But so you encourage people to do their own videos and to jump on and do stuff like that as well for, I guess, like you said, brand recognition. So yeah, that's awesome. That's sort of, I guess, cutting edge stuff, isn't it? That's where people.
Yeah. So YouTube's very popular right now. When somebody goes and they do a search for something and they want to learn more about something, they're going to go to two places. They're going to go to Google, or they're going to go to YouTube. And it just so happens that YouTube and Google are basically the same company. So,
yeah.
So it works very well. The only difference is the whole world is moving towards this video state right now, where when they want to go to learn about something, they don't want to read about it. They don't want to go read and see what your accomplishments are or anything else. They want to see a live person, and they want to hear them. They want to see them. They want to interact with them. And the best way to do that is through video. And so, that's kind of what we've moved to along the way. Even in our own funnels, we use videos. I get in front of a camera and we'll talk about different things, and because that's what people like. That's what people want. And so we personalize those different things to help each person along the way. And we walk them through exactly how to do it and what to say. We can even help set up backgrounds and green screens and all the other fun jazz.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of fun in a way of creating something like that.
Yeah, it is. It's going more across to the creative side, because a lot of real estate can be, on the other side, but it's a little bit creative. So yeah, people enjoy it. And like you said, it takes a lot of time to type stuff up, to do content, to do all that sort of stuff. If you can just jump on a camera, you see people with Facebook Lives now just go bang live. And it's just a lot quicker way to do things. And if you come from a background like we've come from construction, that I mean, I know you've got an engineering background, but I left school real early, and I struggle with all that sort of stuff, and I struggle to read information and take it in. So what I look for straight away is a video. If someone's got a video, I click and watch it and listen to them, and that appeals to a wide range of people. A lot of people like that. So, and I think we learned that with Facebook. If people have to sit there for more than 20 seconds and read something, they're out. They're gone. So
yeah, it's more like three
yeah,
seconds.
Well, that's right. You probably know the stats better than I do, but that's a massive point. So people are starting to do it, and people have got sick. People want to see the real person. They want to actually. Oh, that's the business owner, is it talking? Is that not just some actor that's doing an ad or something like that? So yeah, you make some really good points with that. And I guess you being right at the cutting edge of that, you see that all the time. You see what all the trends are. So that's probably, I've heard a little bit about that too. That's one of the big trends coming up. And like even with people's websites, they've got videos now. They've got videos of how to contact us, how to do this, how to fill out the contracts, how to do. So it's starting to sort of come in more and more now. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really interesting. Now, I'm sure when I mentioned before, and that anyone that's going to be watching this, their ears are going to pick up about the funding. Everyone wants funding. All investors want funding. So hit us with the funding. Like, how did you get into the funding side of it? Like you mentioned before that it was early. How did you get into it, and how have you found that to have an impact on your business, and how do you see it having an impact on other investors' businesses?
Oh man, so it actually happened fairly quick. The whole funding aspect, I've been dealing with private money lenders and everything else for a while, but I was dealing with the wrong ones. They took too much time to close. They had a stipulation on things. Some of even the legit private money lenders still wanted upfront fees. And, anytime somebody mentions an upfront fee for service, you kind of go, oh, this can't be right, But, I've dealt with those people. Luckily, I've never been scammed. But we found the right ones to deal with. And I was at a mastermind last year, and there was a lender that actually came to me wanting me to build a system for them because what they had, they felt like it was outdated. Well, during the conversation, I came in, I talked to them, spoke with them. I told them what we were doing and what we're moving to. And we basically merged together, and now we kind of coexist. And then, so we have all different kinds of private money lenders that we deal with all across the board. We have some that do 100% for individuals that are just starting up. So, they're going to want a bigger chunk of the deal, of course, because they're putting 100% of their money, but they're trusted, it's just one of those things. So you can always make a little bit of something when you're starting off versus 0% of nothing,
Yeah, exactly. And you made a good point there. It's a really slippery slope, isn't it? The whole lending things, like, I get emails just constantly, I can lend you this, lend you that. And it's sort of like when you want to make a move, you just think, who do I go to? Who do I trust? I mean, because the word scam, you said it, the word scam, just scammer alert goes off, and you're like, this is it. And people don't actually reach out. They stay in their shell. I know it's happened to me a few times. I thought, I wouldn't mind pursuing this. I've spoke to a few people, and I've just gone, oh yeah, that just, and then I've just gone back in my shell. I'm like Nemo. I swim out, have a look, and then swim back into the, and hide. But what your point is if you can find someone in a network that are legit, that's where you got to look, isn't it? You got to find credible people that hang out with other credible people, and then go and talk to them and move from there. So you've actually, because you've been in the industry for a while, you've found someone that you go, right, these people are the real
I've got
deal.
a handful of them we definitely recommend.
Yeah.
So most of what we do is going to be under 4 units, and they lend up to 90% of LTV. DTI, it doesn't matter to them. But we also have other lenders that we work with for the multifamily section as well. So I can go, up to 300 units. So on single family, we're lending 75,000 to 4 million. Multifamily, it's going to be closer to 150 to 20 million, and things like that. So it's really good. We've got a handful that we work with, a handful that we trust, And then I've got some other acquaintances along the way that we pass off deals that are the really hard ones to get to, but they charge a little bit more of the interest rate and things like that. But we don't do really a whole lot of those because the ones that we do work with are pretty creative in what they do. So
Yeah, yeah. And with your background coming through, construction, coming through real estate, and now being in the marketing space, you see the full operations of how businesses work. You've been in the trenches. When it comes to lending, and this is an opinion, and you can do a full disclaimer if you want. This is just my personal opinion, but how do you see people using lending as a benefit and fast tracking their real estate business? I mean, and I'm not talking about starting from scratch, putting out banded signs, no money down, that type of stuff. But I'm talking once you're sort of up and running, how do you see people implementing funding to go to the next level? Do you see that as almost a necessity to go to the next level, or
it's a huge asset. It's almost impossible to grow your business by using strictly your own cash because you're always going to be limited. So the best way to grow any business, whether it's real estate or not, is going to be using other people's money. And the reason it's so effective is because you're able to do much more at a lower cost in a quicker amount of time than you can by just using the tools that only you have and you have access to. By reaching out and getting that help from others, like we discussed earlier, it enables you to basically use your resources of basically a community to grow your business. If it's going to cost you 6% to 12% to do a deal, but that's just that one deal, but you can do 30 at the same time at that 6% versus you doing your own deal and it takes you one deal instead of doing the 30 at the same amount of time. You're going to make way more money even though you're paying 6% or 12% on it by borrowing that from somebody that has the money to spare.
Yep. So it can really fast track you. It can really, but once again, look, that's what my next question was going to be, the other side of it, people getting themselves in trouble with money and lending money and getting in a bit of trouble. Now, that's obviously could be a bit of mismanagement and a few other things, but do you see that side of it as well, where there's people that shouldn't borrow money, they're just not equipped for it?
So here's the thing. When you're dealing with a reputable private money lender, they are not going to lend money on a deal that's not good. So they always want to see what the deal is. So the better the deal is, the cheaper the interest rate is actually. So if you find somebody that's willing to put up 100% of the funds and they're not requiring anything from you and they're willing to take the whole deal, that in itself is very scary because who in their right mind put up 100% of anything without knowing what the deal is really,
Yeah.
That it's no worse than me or you going out and buying something from the grocery store that we have no clue what it is, we've never seen it, and we've never tasted it.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, yeah. And like you said, from the other side, the private lenders, they're going to screen you as much as you're going to screen them because it's their money. So they're not going to be lending out money willy-nilly unless the deal makes sense. So
exactly.
I guess they check your Facebook profile, and if you've got the gold chains on, leaning on a Ferrari at the front of a mansion, and that's the image, they'll probably think, oh, hang on, that might be a red flag. But that's actually a really good answer because they'll be screening you as heavily or probably more heavily than you're screening them. So
it's the deal they look at, not the person. So
yeah, that's right. So that's a good answer. Yeah, you mentioned before you met someone at a high level mastermind. How much of that sort of stuff along your journey have you done, like personal growth mindset? Have you put a lot of effort and energy into that?
As much as I can. So anything that comes up along the way, if it's not interfering directly with something that's already going of mine, I volunteer for. And it's one of those things that I do. I volunteer to get as much information as possible, even if it's something that I already know. So I've been to quite a few like sub 2 conferences over the last couple of years. I know a lot about sub 2, but there might be something there where somebody's saying, okay, well, I'm doing this. And I can say, well, I could probably implement that in my business. But not only that, but you're also networking with other individuals in the market that you're in that can help you out, or they might need your help.
Mm. Yeah.
So, the real estate business is all about networking. It's all about who you know and what you know. Those two things combined helps businesses grow faster than anything out there.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a few guests that have come on and said, "Oh, I did a high level mastermind, and I met this person, and this is what come out of it." It's amazing, that whole networking thing, and I think once again people are starting to rethink, instead of trying to be individuals and do everything themselves. Now they're looking at a bit more team synergy, and just not even partnering up with people, but just having networks of people that they can bounce stuff off, they can work with on certain projects. And like you said, there's certain personalities. You've got a very analytic personality over here, then you've got a creative visionary over here. You start putting a few of those heads together that are high level motivated people, the results that come out's amazing, isn't it? So I think that's our big thunderbolt for today. I mean, you've thrown a few at us, but I think we can't overemphasize that you need to get out and start networking. Even if you're starting off from scratch in the real estate business, you need to get out. Once again, how are you going to meet good lenders? Like I said, there's all this noise out there. The best way is to meet people that work with good lenders, and that's through networking. So, yeah, that's a really good point. And most of the guests that come on say the same thing. So another question I ask when it comes to mindset, I always ask, you personally, do you have any success habits? Do you have routines? Do you think that side of it's very important to keep you up and in the best place for your business and to serve your customers, is for you to be, once again, your mindset being good and you having routines and stuff like that? Do you have your own little success habits that you follow?
So the biggest one that I think that I follow is make sure to schedule everything that you can and write it down, whether it's on a notepad or whether it's in your calendar or a task that you set up. That enables your mind to be a little bit freer, and it helps it rehab a little bit faster. Another one is to make sure that you have goals. Make sure those goals are written down somewhere, because by writing those down, it keeps you accountable. Okay, so you can revisit those goals every week if you want. You can revisit them every month if you want. You can change them as you grow or as your business grows. But I definitely think that having goals written down somewhere and established for you to keep yourself accountable is definitely a big part of any business that grows. So without those goals in place, you have no idea what you're out there reaching for.
Yeah, definitely. And I've actually recently had someone suggest that you bullet point some of your goals, even if they're only short-term ones or 6-month ones. You write them. You just write them out a couple of times in the morning, or in the evening, whichever suits you best. You write them down, and it's almost like that affirmation type style stuff where you write it down and you're constantly thinking about it. So you've got probably your bigger goals and you've got them broken down into action plans and all this sort of stuff, but you just bullet point it. And the way the brain works is if you're writing it, you're taking a lot more of the information that you write down. So that was another suggestion. So yeah, that's a common theme as well, that talking to people that are doing really well and high level people, they seem to follow habits and they like their rituals. And like you said, being organized, even with a calendar, and even if you're an old school person, say like myself, where you just got to write it down, you got to have something that you can, because like you said, it frees your mind up. There's nothing worse than half the day your head's foggy because you're thinking, have I missed something? Is there something not quite right there? So no, that's a good point. So I've actually got on the screen, Justin, I've got a few of your websites there, because I was going to say, how do people reach out to you? So it'll be through your websites. If people click on there, they can sort of get to you eventually, can't they? Like they just, obviously, I don't know if they fill out a form or whatever, but you've actually offered today to book a call. There's a website there. It's Powerhouse. I mean, it's HTTPS / blah, 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 Powerhouse, and it's .com schedule. So you've actually offered people, if they want to get on the phone with you, to go to that website that's on the screen, and they can book in a call and you can talk to them about their business. It's no obligation. It's just, they want to find services. They can talk to you about how you can help them in their business and all the rest of it. So you've offered that up today. So I'd advise people to, take Justin up on that, have a chat with him, at least find out if there's some way that he could help you with your business. And, once again, it depends where your business is at, whether if you're starting out and you're putting a banded sides out and you've got no money, you're probably going to have to go through a bit of a transition to get to that next level. But this would be sort of really cherry ripe for people that are up and running, but they just feel like they're sort of hit a bit of a ceiling and they need to sort of move to the next level. So do you want to just sort of explain, first when people reach out to you, like as a case study, if I reached out to you, Justin, and called you, what would your advice be? Firstly, from the first phone call.
So on the strategy call, what we want to do is we want to go over what you're doing in your business currently, and then where you would like to be in 6 months to a year. So once we establish those goals and that mindset of where you're at now and where you want to be, it's kind of how we can go through and move towards where you need to be. So we're going to go over things like what kind of budget you have that you're working with. How are you trying to grow your business that way? What tools do you currently have in place? What kind of marketing have you tried? What's working for you? What market you're in? What kind of deal is your ideal customer? So, do you like foreclosures? Do you like short sales? Do you like to fix and flip? Do you only want to do 5 deals a year, or do you want to do 40 deals a year or 120 deals a year? Are you strictly a wholesaler? These are all the kind of things that we can go over on the strategy call, so we can kind of come up with a winning game plan to set you on a successful path to where you're wanting to be. So not everybody does business the same way. Everybody needs to do their business their own way for what's right for them. Okay. So if they want to be busy 12 hours a day, hustling, trying to do wholesale deal after wholesale deal after wholesale deal, and that's the mentality that they have, and they like it, then I'm going to help you be there. Okay. I'm going to help you grow to where you need to be in order to be successful and what your goals are, not mine.
So someone like that, for instance, that's starting off, that's really grinding and hustling, they may just need you to help them with automation. They might say, look, I like what I do. I like being out there, grinding and hustling 12 hours a day. That's what I'm enjoying doing at the moment. So like you said, you may just come in and say, all right, I'll just automate some stuff for you so you've got more time to get out there and do that. So you can start at ground zero, and then, like you said, it depends on your business and how it goes up. You can implement stuff depending on any business. So like you just said, then you cater it to the individual's needs, not here's a one-stop shop, this is what you've got to do. You actually reverse engineer it on the individual, which is great. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, I don't have a plan to sell you that, it's a magical answer. What I offer is something custom to your business and what your needs are.
Yeah.
If you're needing something along the way, whether it's a content marketing to help your business grow faster without having to stress of you coming up with content, if you want somebody to manage your Facebook accounts as far as posting and whatnot that way, or if you need some better quality funnels, or maybe you want your website revamped, anything along the way that you feel that is hurting your business or that you want to grow in your business, all the way from the automations to the marketing, the content part of that, the funding, direct mail campaigns, pretty much everything you could possibly think of. We want to be the company to help you out and to help you grow. I'm not here to sell you something you don't need.
Yeah. And it's all those little erroneous zones that you're talking about, and we've spoken, today about it, is all those things that you just sort of shrink and you don't move forward because you just can't handle them and you ignore them. So that's a really good point too, is you come in and you say, right, Graham, you're hiding, you need to pluck that out, put something in place there so that you can move forward, because it's hurting your business. It's stopping you from growing. So, yeah, and, like you said, from the start, you've got that the visionary type thinking. So you can probably look into someone's business and say, look, if we just move a few parts here, automate this, do that, you can flourish from there. So, yeah, that's what the industry needs now. It needs people that can come in and help people that are over busy, exhausted, overwhelmed, and come in and actually help them move forward, because that's what it's about now. It's about working with other people to move forward together. So, no, it sounds awesome, Justin, and I think you found a real need in the market at the moment, and I think there's a couple of people that have woken up to this and gone, right, the old way's dead. We talk about COVID coming in and just revolutionising and changing the whole real estate industry, and that's due to virtual stuff now. There's a lot of virtual stuff, and with the market, we thought it was going to affect the market and it was going to plummet, and it's gone up. So there's a whole heap of different things now happening out there in the marketplace, and companies like yours now are saying, right, you've got to adjust to this, and you've got to have a new strategy moving forward because the landscape's changed. So, no, that's awesome. I appreciate you coming in. We're hitting time now. I appreciate you coming in and just explaining all that out in layman's terms to us, because it's about, like I said, a lot of people that are in real estate haven't got great educations. They're not tech people. They're not savvy to a lot of this stuff, but they are very highly driven entrepreneurial people. So they just need someone to come in that can give them the tools that they need to move forward, and that's exactly what you're doing out there. So, that's awesome. That's what the industry needs. And yeah, I'd just like to wrap up by saying thanks for coming on and sharing with people, because even just thinking through that and us talking out loud, it just a few pennies drop for people, and they go, right, yeah, I do feel a bit stuck. I need to maybe get someone in to help me with my marketing or this and that. So awesome, no worries. So that's awesome, Justin. All right, well, we'll wrap it up. Is there anything else you'd like to just share with the listeners before you go, or anything else to do with the call or your business or anything like that?
No, that's it. Basically, if you have a question you need answers to, and it involves real estate in marketing or growing your business, hit one of the links below. You can also give me a call, 407-305-4241. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I will get back to you.
That's awesome. Yep. It's your phone's going to blow up now. You might have to get another cell phone now. But no, that's
I got
good.
automations.
I've had a couple of people come on that say, hey, my number's on my website. You ring me. I might not be able to answer the call straight away, but I will get back to you. And people respect that. People respect that someone will go old school and actually have a conversation with you. So that's awesome. No worries, Justin. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks again for your time. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed talking about that, because I think, like I've said, in business, sometimes you need someone else to come in and open your eyes up a little bit of time. And businesses like yourself now are starting to see that need in the market and are actually really serving a need. So that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. And yeah, good luck moving forward 2022 and onwards with the concept, because I think now that you've given your phone number out, you're going to blow up. You're going to be getting phone calls from everywhere. So awesome.
Yeah, I think it's already started. I appreciate you having me on, Graham.
Is your phone ringing in the background?
Yeah, I'm getting dings going off everywhere, man.
Yeah. All right, no worries. We'll check out. See you from Justin and myself. And because, as I say each week, because Justin come on, you guys have been thunderstruck.
All right.